Father Angelo Mitri.
I am somehow the defendant, because it is a real process and it has a certain characteristic of a criminal process. In a way, the candidate to canonization is considered not a saint until he is proclaimed a saint.
Bound volumes of evidence in the case of Alfred Basset, Brother Andre, testimony taken under oath, cross-examining his life. A man's own words can be used as evidence against his sainthood, so Father Mitri is delighted that Brother Andre wrote so little.
Now, Brother Andre wrote very little. In fact, I think we have only 2 letters really handwritten by him. So that's only 1 page, just the decree. You see that what he wrote, well, is according to the Catholic and the Christian faith. See? That after we have the Davis Advocate objections. They are about objections, mind you. We call them objections. In reality, they are questions.
Such as?
Well, for instance, Brother Andre, you say that through his intercession, many graces and favors and miracles were done during his life, especially cures. What was his attitude towards science, towards medicine? Did he encourage people to go first to the doctor?
In the case of Brother Andre, there's a man in New York who is cured of cancer.
Mr. Odino.
Well, tell me how you proceeded with his case. I mean, that's supposed to be a quote-unquote miracle.
So when he made known that he was cured through the intercession of Brother Andre, see, after the doctors had declared him incurable because he had cancer, well, we collected all the evidence, what the man said, Mr. Odino, and then what the doctor said, and then we collected all the medical records, and we brought them to Rome.
2 Vatican doctors working in secrecy are now examining the X-rays and other evidence in the case of Joe Odino. On the right, the X-ray shows a cancerous tumor growing inside. On the left, the X-ray shows the tumor is gone. Was the disappearance certifiably miraculous? Led by the Devil's Advocate, a team of Vatican lawyers and doctors spent 2 days in Rochester secretly cross-examining Odino and his physician. Now the jury is out.
So if these 2 experts, both of them say, no, according to us, this is not extraordinary at all, the case is finished. And mind you, this is the only case, to my knowledge, where the Church willingly is conditioned by science. Because you know that we faithful, we believe in things which we don't see.
How good a politician do you have to be?
Mind you, you certainly have to use the common how to say, savoir-faire for anything. You need a little savoir-faire. It is clear that a postulator may ruin his case by pushing it too hard. Another postulator may ruin his case by not caring enough.
Wednesday, July 12, 1978, 10:12 a.m. Father Mitri is on his way to a papal audience. He wonders whether he had used the right amount of savoir-faire during a series of delicate negotiations with the office of the Supreme Pontiff. The Fifth Estate is in town, and Father Mitri wants the Pope to say a few words about Brother Andre for the CBC camera. But he goes to the audience unsure as to what will unfold, because His Holiness has been very sick. Wednesday, July 12th, 10:59 a.m. The great audience hall of the Vatican is murmurous with expectation. Choir boys, nuns, pilgrims, 15,000 people await the arrival of His Holiness Pope Paul VI, the Supreme Pontiff. Out of sight of the crowd, a black Mercedes limousine pulls up. At precisely 11 a.m., 1,000 flashbulbs strobe the scene, signaling the entrance into the hall of the frail man in the white silk cassock, the leader of 583 million Roman Catholics, carried aboard a sedan chair so all can glimpse him. It will be his last entrance, the last audience in Rome of his pontificate. Paul VI has told the cardinals he is a dying man and they must prepare for his succession. In 1952, before he became Pope, the then Giovanni Montini came to Montreal on Vatican business. Wise politicians that they are, Brother Andre's supporters got him up to the oratory and gave the future Pope a red carpet treatment. It may have helped, because in the last weeks of his reign, Paul VI declared Brother Andre venerable, a servant of God, setting him on the road to sainthood. Now on this day, the Pope has decided to do one last thing for the cause of Andre Bessette.
We are happy to offer some words of welcome to representatives of the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation who are assisting at this audience and permitting us to transmit to television viewers in their great country, so rich in Christian tradition, our special blessing intended for all the families gathered in front of the small screen. We are pleased to note that Canadian television proposes to show them the life of the servant of God, Andre Bessette. We express the wish that the example of his Christian virtues, his living faith, and his love of Christ may be for all an inspiration and an invitation to live a life even more according to the Gospels, with our special apostolic blessing.
How involved do you get with your cases? You pray to Brother Andre?
I pray to Brother Andre to have the same simplicity to go to God. Unfortunately, I should say, we priests very often, we may go to God with our background of theology, philosophy, and all degrees in canon law and civil law. We cannot go to God with that. We have to go to God with the faith of Brother Andre.
If you were absolutely being the most optimistic you could, when do you think we would have a Saint Andre?
We need other miracles.
How many more?
Well, at least one. At least one. And so we have to wait. Now, knowing how powerful is Brother Andre with God, well, I am optimistic.
The church like a Canadian saint?
Well, they certainly do. Oh, believe me, in the last, let's say 20 years, they have done their utmost to look for non-European saints. The problem is that non-European candidates, well, they lived maybe only last century or maybe this century. Their cause started very late, so their time has not come yet. So the desire may be there, but at the same time we have to do this work. And it may be that in the next maybe 10 years, probably Europe will complain that there are too many Canadian saints. Well, the time for Canada has arrived, and I think again in the next few years there may be many Canadian causes which will make progress.
That scene with the late Pope was so impressive. Is his successor going to make any difference to Brother Andre's chances?
I don't think so, because Brother Andre's cause is so far advanced, the miracles are being authenticated. I think we're going to see the new Pope, John Paul I, make Brother Andre a saint before very long.